Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Nature Center at Camp Au. I'm the Nature Guy. Today I want to talk about how birds navigate. Now during migration they got to be able to know where they're going, where they're coming from and going to. And so birds have a variety of ways of telling the direction while they're flying. Now some birds use the position of the sun. You know, it rises in the east and goes to the west, and if you know the time of day, which they do, they can figure out which way is north and they can find their way to where they need to go. Other birds use a star map in much the same way, looking at the position of the constellations. It looks like the stars are moving at night, but that's really because the earth is spinning. But they can use that map and find their way as well. Others use some different strategies for getting there, and one of those is a sense of smell. Some birds just can smell where they have to go, but that doesn't work for a very long distance. So that only works for short navigation routes. If you've got to go a long way, a lot of birds rely on the Earth's magnetic field. So our globe, our Earth, has a magnetic field around it. We know that because, you know, when you go for a hike, you take your compass and you follow the compass needle. It'll tell you where north is, and if you want to go east, then you know where you're supposed to go. And so you can use a compass using the Earth's magnetic field. Now, birds don't have compasses around their neck, but in fact, they do have compasses built in. Now, in some birds, like this starling here, the compass is actually built into their bill. In fact, what we find is along the edges of both sides of the bill are little miniature, minute crystals of magnetite, just much the same of what we use to make a compass. And those little miniature magnetic needles can move around in the soft tissue right there, and there are little fibers and detectors that pick up the motion so the bird can figure out which way is north or south and fly in the right direction. It's really cool. The most recent magnetic compass, though, is just, to me, just kind of blows my mind. And that's found in many seabirds. Now, we don't have brown pelicans at Camp Au, but this would be a bird that you would see out along the coast. And many seabirds migrate for thousands of miles across the open ocean. There's no landmarks. There's not even a place to land unless you're going to sit in the water. And so they have a very interesting way of detecting the Earth's magnetic field. It has to do with their eyes. It turns out in the retina, in the back of their eyes, they have special receptors that detect light, but the chemical in those receptors that detects the light is magnetic, or at least it has charges on it. And so it turns out that those light detectors only work if the bird is pointing north and the charges are aligned in those detectors. So it's like little chemical magnetic detectors in the eyes, and only when the bird is looking the right direction does that part of the eye work. In other words, the picture gets better and brighter when you're looking the right direction. And if the bird turns into the wrong direction, it gets darker, I guess. They just don't see as well. And so they really, during migration, they can only see well going north. And then in the fall, it switches direction and it only works when they're flying south. I think it'd be really cool for an engineer to make me a set of glasses that I could put on, and then when I face north, it gets brighter, and when I face in the other direction, it gets darker. That'd just be so cool to actually feel what these birds must be detecting when they're flying and migrating. God just is so amazing. There's not much else to say. He has such creative abilities. But you know, he has, like in the birds that have a way of finding where they need to go, God has given us instructions to give us guidance as we go through our life. And that guidance is found in a book, the Bible. And by reading the Bible, we can learn about the direction God wants us to go in our life. Just like the seabirds can only see when they're looking in the right direction, we should only be looking in the right direction by following God. Thanks for listening. Until next time, have a good day.